Hello, my name is Tony Chan, reporting for TelecomTV. I'm here today with Shahar Steif, who is the Associate VP for New Technologies at PCCW Global. Welcome to TelecomTV. We're going to talk about SDNs today. So how do you think the SDN movement will transform telco networks and businesses?
SDN, I consider SDN not so much as a technology, but more as a way to optimize networks and get them more agile and being able to deliver services in manners which we haven't delivered before. It's not so much new services. We'll probably be delivering the same services which we delivered before. It's going to be connectivity from point A to point B. But we're going to be able to deliver those services automatically, on demand, in short periods of time, for short periods of time, rather than today's method of delivery network, which is all manual with long lead times and also usually long contracts of fixed term, fixed bandwidth.
So what kind of changes do you foresee for a telco when that business or when SDN becomes part of the business and part of the network operation, when you have to deal with contracts that are 2 minutes or 2 days or 2 days long?
Well, I think the major difference is going to be a software business, a software change, sorry. It's going to be an IT change. We're going to need to look at the information in a different manner. The technology, in many cases, can either already be there or would be relatively simple to develop from a technical perspective. The operational, the admin aspects are going to be very challenging, because most telcos operate various platforms. Each platform has its own management system. Each platform stores its data in a different location or in a different manner. Now we need to orchestrate everything so that systems talk with each other. So the service delivery and operations and troubleshooting, they're all going to be one big system. And when a customer requests service, we need to run the credit check in real time. And when a customer overruns their credit, we need to be able to terminate them in real time. So things that for now, up until today, we were usually only doing, let's say, for wholesale voice customers, suddenly we will need to be able to deliver for regular data customers, which up until today, everything was done manually on very, very long lead time. So it's going to be a big challenge, mostly for the IT department. Well, obviously also for the network department, because they do need to deploy new equipment and new software, new technology. But I think the real challenge here is operational.
Can you describe a little bit where PCCW Global is at in terms of looking and perhaps trialing or implementing SDN?
We are already implementing SDN, but to a limited scope. The main motivation for deploying SDN was, in fact, by our network management people, because they figured out that the network is growing and it is becoming hard to manage manually. It is becoming hard to perform all the tasks manually, configure router interfaces, collect statistics, etc. So they've developed their own methods. Today they're called SDN, obviously, but in fact they were developed internally simply in order to better utilize the network, to better assess the requirements, better load balance. So this is already going on a trial basis. In fact, some of our, I can say, live traffic is already affected by that as well. We're also doing some virtualization in terms of data centers. You know, our own internal data centers. We're not really offering a virtualized data center to our customers, but our own internal data storage is now virtualized. Which wasn't the case before.
As you know, from the telecoms industry, everything is kind of interconnected. You have to work with other network operators. Do you see any challenges in kind of expanding SDN beyond your own network and into others?
Well, there's a great challenge there. I mean, as complex as deploying SDN on our own network is, and obviously it is complex, and again I'm saying not necessarily complex from a technical perspective, but more from an admin perspective, Now consider when we need to deliver service across multiple platforms, and in today's environment, almost all services span beyond one single platform. Then we need to be able to connect our own complex system to our partner's complex system. And to do that, we need to speak the same language. If our platform, for example, is run by vendor A, with a platform we bought from OSS vendor A, and our partner is using a platform from vendor B with an OSS platform for vendor B, those two need to speak to each other. If they each use proprietary interfaces, proprietary APIs, then there's no way we can automate services. We will be stuck with the regular manual delivery, exchanging faxes and emails and doing everything manually with lead times of 30 days or more. For that to be done automatically, we need to focus on developing a standardized API that is developed through consensus between all parties involved, between all the carriers involved and all the OSS platform developers involved.
Okay. Is there anybody working on this particular effort?
Yes, I'm personally involved at the MEF, Metro Ethernet Forum, at the relatively newly formed Service Operations Committee. And we are trying to develop a service lifecycle model where we're trying to look at the life cycle of a service from initial inquiry through pricing exchange, through feasibility, through service delivery, through troubleshooting, billing, and eventual termination. We're trying to build the information model around it, and we're trying to identify the points during this process where one carrier interacts with another carrier or where the carrier interacts with the customer. And once we have those points identified, and once we have the information model identified, we can in fact deploy the API. And if then all stakeholders along the play, which could be the customer, the carrier A, carrier B, and whatever other carrier could be along the way, this could be, of course, cascaded across multiple APIs, across multiple carriers, then we should be able, if everyone is using the same ubiquitous API, consensus-based API, we can automatically deliver service across multiple networks. We all speak the same language. That maybe goes back to my days in chemistry. You know, when you consider chemistry, we think, you know, the reaction happens everywhere. Reaction happens on the surface between two materials, right? So that's also where the reaction between carriers happens. It doesn't happen, whatever happens within the carrier itself is immaterial for that respect. The real reaction is what happens between carriers. That's where the real thing happens, and we need to make sure this is controlled.
Okay. Thank you very much, Shachar.
Thank you.